Hello to any new viewers and welcome back anyone that's been following this series progression. I'm Vadd. One thing that was not covered in episode 13 when we kill these lava golem primes, they're the only prime dino that currently drops this box. This box is separate from their loot pool that came into our inventory, and this box has the lava stones in it. Killing them in the water meant this box was spawning in places that we did not see. Make sure to pick up this box. We have another trap here for the prime golems. We set up a bunker with a few beds on it. This trap is 7 pillars long, 7 pillars wide, and 6 pillars high. Prime golems can jump over anything 4 walls high. Your trap will need to be no less than 5 pillars high. By making this trap 6 pillars high, we account for any shorter sides to the trap due to variations in terrain. You could use a flyer. I showed you that by keeping 1 pillar 3 high, we could use our prime Kong to kite the prime golem into the trap. You could also do it on foot as I show you here. As of the current state of docks, you can still use a cannon to knock out a prime golem. It is currently more efficient and effective to take your prime Kong and use its ranged attack to apply the toper to the golem. You want the prime golem to be aggressive on your tame, not to you the hero, but to your tame. Instead, I made a mistake here and I had the prime golem consistently attacking my trap. When I jumped off my tame for a second, I didn't realize I had my tame on aggressive, which was a massive mistake. Without my full set of Riot DOX enhanced armor, my tame would have definitely died. I got really fortunate that my tame ended up on top of the golem inside the trap, so I was able to jump off the golem to get out of the trap. You may have noticed I left a couple of small gaps in the pillars. This is intentional to give my prime Kong a clear shot at the prime golem to try and knock it out. It's really tough to land these shots. It looks like if I aim a little bit above the head and the golem isn't in the middle of an attack animation, I have a pretty good shot at dealing some toper. Trying to tame this rock elemental prime is a very challenging tame. Expect to die. Bring a few Kongs if you can afford to. This is not going to be an easy project. I set up the beds in the docks bunker. I think the docks bunker is a lot of fun. I feel like it's a little too expensive early game, and into the mid game, I don't feel like it's nearly as effective as having a good tame. The bunker is not indestructible and doesn't currently have a door. There may be some places in the terrain on your map where you could get creative with trying to use the bunker for some taming. Without that DOX fabricated sniper rifle, I wouldn't try and really kill things from the bunker. DOX advanced exploding sniper bullets can only be fired from the DOX fabricated sniper rifle, which you get as a drop from killing prime bosses or higher. And as we move into these higher fights, we want to also be moving up the potion ladder. We've been using the lowest potion so far. The mid potion here is going to offer 3 times the health points, and instead of food, we're going to get stamina. It's going to be a lot more expensive, but a lot more valuable. In episode 13, we got our first look at the corruption stone. In our Doc's Book of Smarts, you can follow the directions on screen right now to learn a little bit more about the corruption stone. We're going to go with option 3, where if we make sure we have that corruption stone on our tool belt, it's going to provide 10% increased damage and 10% less damage taken. This applies not only to the hero, but it also is going to apply to the tames that we ride on. It's time to say hi to this episode's kill squad. Right now on screen, you should be seeing the stats, the saddles, who we're going to be using to fight the bosses in this episode. At this point in the series, we've seen what every single buff icon looks like in our gear stacking success formula. The corruption stone is another piece we're going to add to the equation to raise our chances of being successful fighting these bosses. On the hit list today, we're going to be challenging the Apex Dimorphodon Prime Wild. I'm sure if you're playing this mod, you have seen the Apex Dimorphodon Prime Wild flying around. It's super scary. It kind of swoops down at you. You don't know if it's going to attack. You don't know if it's aggressive towards you. I'm telling you right now, these are aggressive, wild primes. Don't come near it if you're not ready to fight it. We're here on our Fire Mana core. Of course, we're using our enhancement part. We know when we're trying to fight these prime dinos, it's super important to set up our fights for us to be successful. If I can land a shot on this Dimorphodon prime before it's aggressive towards me, I'm already starting from a position of strength. Now it's aggressive towards me. Now I blow it up. We've talked about this before, how those Manticore enhancement parts shoot a burst of projectiles. If we can land all of them on a target, our damage is huge. If we only land one or just get a little bit of splash on a target, our damage is fairly minimal. A lot of the times I find these Dimorphodon primes flying around not near the other prime flyers. So if there's a lot of wyverns in the area, if I see a bunch of dragons and manticores, I don't always see these Dimorphodons in that same area. Remember, it's important to imprint on your dinos. All of these dinos we're using here in our kill squad, except for our Kong, were all eggs at one point, and those eggs get an imprinting bonus, which is additional damage that you can be doing that you're missing out on if you don't raise your eggs properly. When we lost all our progress earlier in this series, we had a really nice dragon saddle. This time through, we don't have the same nice dragon saddle, but we have some really nice Manticore enhancement parts. I'm showing you multiple different ways to fight these Apex Primes because odds are really good you're not going to have a fire Manticore, an ice Manticore, your dragon, and the Kong. Maybe you will, but if you don't, I'm showing you here there's different ways you can fight this prime dino, not just this one, but the ones we've shown so far. Note, our dragons are going to have a really tough time with this fight. We have less range, we have significantly less armor. Saddle armor is a part of gear stacking. It does mitigate some of the damage that is being done to your tame. Sure, we've got some bleed damage, we've got some fire damage, we're hitting really hard. Without our potions, we die here. Even with our full set of our chitin, with our corruption stone, with our imprinting bonus, with our pygmy, our apex pygmy over level 550, without bringing that health potion, we die in this fight right here, right now. Our dragon is not any worse to have in your progression path than a Manticore. Our dragon just has not been leveled up. Those Manticores are not Apex Manticores. We've taken those Apex Manticores, taken them into their second stage of the Fire and Ice Manticores. This is still an Apex Dragon. It's the lowest level possible, the lowest tier of dragon that we could be flying around on. Notice this Dimorphodon Prime has a ranged fireball attack. If we were here with our riot armor, we would have been taking extra damage that we're now not taking because we have our chitin armor on. Anyone that's been paying close attention may have noticed these health potions have a timer on them. When you drink a health potion, it starts that timer. The timer winds down from the point of drinking the health potion, and the health potion will heal you for the length of that timer. If I drink a second health potion, I'm not getting double the healing. I'm also not getting a double length timer. I'm just starting the timer over fresh, and I'm completely wasting that potion. Drink one potion at a time, keep an eye on the timer. When it starts to get low, drink your next potion. If you just spam drink all 5 of your 5 potions you have, now you just have the equivalent of 1 potion worth of healing. Don't do that. I'm here trying to fight the Prime Dimorphodon with the Kong. With the Kong, I had a pretty embarrassingly hard time trying to land these hits, and you might have a much better success ratio of nailing the Prime Dimorphodon. I know with my chitin, I'm not going to take the fire damage. I think this fight may be doable if you have a good saddle, a good pygmy, all your right gear stacked up, but it was a pretty close fight. Notice, I'm going to have to show you this frame by frame. These fights are so fast when they happen. It looks like I kill it in one hit. In reality, I actually hit this Prime Dimorphodon 4 different times. Watch closely to catch them in live time. Here it is in the review, the slow-mo. We have 1 hit, a second hit, and when the Dimorphodon swoops around us again, we're going to land a 3rd hit. It's still not going to be dead. We're going to need a 4th hit to finish off this prime. Use the timestamps if you don't want to hear about a Ragnarok base location. From the red obelisk, we're going to head north towards the highlands, towards that lighthouse. Do you see it on top of the hill just there? Into what I call Keldar Kove. Latitude and longitude are on screen right now for you to find this base location. There's a couple of different ways to block off the entrance into the cave here at Keldar Kove. The important thing is that you get those mega walls down, or those docks forged dorms, to stop those megas from rendering inside your base. With the docks forged dome here, I had some issues because when I fly in through the dome, I'm instantly in the water and I get dismounted all the time. I had no issue getting the Manticore through the top of the dome. The dragon seems to be a little bit bigger. Remember, all the bosses and docks can really break through any structure given enough time. This is not protection, it's just a little bit more safety. I recommend at least blocking off the cave entrance. If the dome doesn't work, these mega walls are not stacked. 2 of the mega walls have a clipping point, a snap point I found at the top half of the wall at kind of the roof of the cave entrance, and the other 2 mega walls are actually snapped, clipped to the bottom of the water floor. You're going to have a little trouble building in this cave if your server settings aren't generous to the builders. I know there's some limits on cliff platforms. I know there's some limits on where you can place structures. This building location is going to be a little bit limited by how generous your building settings are. Also, I blocked off this whole edge here, but as you can see with Kong, you can pretty much still walk over, around, and through any of it. It's a complete waste of resources. Maybe, just maybe, it'll offer you a little bit of protection when you walk outside your door that hopefully nothing's there. But in reality, this is docks. It's dangerous. You can see on the inside here, it's an absolutely massive base location. I had several anglerfish in here swimming around for the filming. They all despawned and disappeared. I didn't have a single kill message. I don't know where they are, but you could fit your moses, your squids, your plessies. It's a lot of space in here. I built all the way at the top with these first couple of platforms. These particle effects are from a tech generator I put down. You're a little more centralized than some of our other bases we've showcased. Water's not going to be an issue. Space will not be an issue. Your biggest constraint is it's tough to build in here. The tech generator made it easy for my elevator platforms to move up and down inside this absolutely massive cave. If you do end up building inside Keldar Cove, I would love to see a screenshot shared in the community Discord with you and your mini Vadd chibi in the cave with how you used this space. It is time to fight the Prime Horse. On screen right now, you can see the stats of this Prime boss, and we are going to be fighting it with our Manticore first. We know that this Prime Horse has a little bit of a ranged attack. We got absolutely destroyed by this horse in the early game progression, but we're back. We have our Manticore. We've leveled up our Manticore. We've got enhancement parts, corruption stones, a full set of Dox armor. The goal of this fight is to not let the horse touch us a single time. That's right. We've raised the bar a little bit here. We know that we can outrange this horse, but can we outplay this horse? Can we not get touched by this horse? Look at the size of that skull blast that it sends off. It's got a pretty massive explosion. It grows maybe 4 or 5 times bigger as it removes itself from the horse towards us. Overall, this fight was not too hard with our current setup. I think if we had tried to fight the Prime Horse here earlier into our Dox progression, it would have been a lot tougher of a fight. Since we now know how to get our hands again on a Prime Golem, let's let the Golem have a go at the Prime Horse. We're going to make sure we're wearing armor that's going to mitigate some of that fire damage. We've got a really good saddle for our Golem, and we're going to do as many ranged attacks as we possibly can before the Prime Horse gets in close to us to get as much damage possible before we are in range. We also have that Doed Pygmy, which gives us lots of defensive bonuses. We have our full set of armor, we have our corruption stone, we have our health potions. I'm feeling pretty confident that we can take this horse down with our rock golem prime. Without getting too technical, let's talk a little bit about the damage that we're getting reduced here. We have that apex pygmy doed over level 550, which is a 30% reduction, plus the corruption stone, which is 10%, plus the full riot set bonus, which is 25%, not including the damage reduced by our saddle armor. It would appear with our gear stacked up this way, we would have a damage reduction of 65%. The current damage calculations aren't just flat ratios like this though, it's a little more complex. Let's say you just took 1 damage. The Pygmy Doed would be blocking 30%, the Corruption Stone would be blocking 10%, the full Riot bonus would be blocking 25%. This means we would be taking 47% of the damage for a total damage reduction of 53%. The important thing to understand here is that every single piece of gear we stack makes an absolutely massive difference in our ability to survive and to win these fights. Each percentage point matters because the bosses we fight are dealing hundreds of thousands of damage or more if you're not properly stacking your gear. When you're dealing with big numbers like that, a single percentage point is huge. The dragon is able to win this fight versus the Prime Horse. We needed all of our gear stacked, we needed our health potions, but we can take this fight as long as we don't take too many hits from that big ranged attack. That ranged attack was hitting us for around 8,000 plus damage with our damage mitigation. We have now fought and defeated every single prime boss we need to evolve our Manticores. Again, if you've been following along in the series, you've seen every single one of these fights, and we can open up our Docs Book of Smarts, and we can see that once we get that Alpha Manticore, that's not the end of that Manticore. It goes into those Manticores of Fire and Ice, but that's not its final form yet. It has another evolution, and we can get them into those Manticore Primes. A Prime Manticore. That's a significantly stronger Manticore than the current Manticores of Fire and Ice we're using. On screen right now, you should be seeing each and every piece you need to make that Manticore evolution happen. And this is super exciting. Right now, comment below. What do you like better? Do you like the Ice Manticore? Do you like the Fire Manticore? Who is the better Manticore? We were about to change this Manticore's entire career right here. This is the moment. We killed the Prime bosses. We're going to put them in the Manticore's inventory. We're going to make sure we took off our saddles. We took off anything in the inventory. We don't want anything to happen here that's going to cause any kind of a problem. And we're going to put in just 3 of those Manticore evolution parts. That's right, the Prime Kong, the Prime Bear, the Prime Dimorphodon. We're gonna hop on the Manticore and we are going to push X on the PC. We're gonna push that enhancement attack command, but there's no saddle, so instead we should see the parts get consumed. We're gonna have this really fun animation, and if all goes well, we are going to fail. Apparently we failed. Apparently failure is an option. That's right, there's a 50-50 shot. You're flipping a coin every time you go from that Manticore Fire and Ice to that Manticore Prime. Good thing we're a Prime farming expert, because we're gonna fail again. Can you believe that? Which had me like... So then we failed again. So obviously we went and killed more Prime bosses so we could try one more time, and we've officially declared war on our own Tame. Okay, alright, here we go. On a more serious note that my mic can handle, yes, Manticores can fail moving from the Manticore Fire and Ice into that Manticore Prime. It's a 50-50 shot. We're not going to fail on this one once. We're not going to fail twice. I think we have about 6 failed evolution attempts to get this Manticore here, and then we get our egg. We've got a couple more Manticores. Let's see if that was just a little bit unlucky to the RNG. Here we have another Apex Fire Manticore. We're going to again put the Prime Kong, the Prime Raptor, the Prime Dimorphodon, and this time, first try, it goes smooth. We get the fun animation, we get the flashing, and then we get our egg so we can get another Manticore of Fire into a Prime Fire Manticore. Again, we are going to evolve our Manticore of Ice into a Prime Ice Manticore. We're going to need to have killed 3 Prime bosses to do this, and we're going to need that Prime Deathworm, the Prime Argent, the Prime Dimorphodon head. You've seen all of these fights. It's going to consume those head pieces, and then we're going to have a 50-50 shot of success moving our Manticore of Ice into a Prime Ice Manticore. Thankfully, once again, it's looking like we might not have 6 fails. Can we get some flashing? There we go. 1 and 1. Perfect. Just because we're into the mid-game of Docs does not mean that there are not going to be continued setbacks and continued things we need to overcome and work our way through. The mod is a lot of fun, but it's super challenging. That coin flip, that 50-50 shot for our Manticore progressions, every time we failed, we had to go and kill 3 more of those Prime bosses to collect those heads to have our evolution succeed, or at least have another chance at our evolution succeeding. We are, of course, going to hatch these eggs, and I think it's also time to name these Manticores, our Prime Manticores. That's right, they're getting names. Stay with me for just a minute here as we change the pace. You, yes, you watching this right now, have an absolutely fantastic opportunity. This opportunity has no sunset date. I am going to complete this ARK DOX series, which makes the obvious question, then what? Which is my question for you. Yes, you watching right now. Please do not limit yourself. ARK is currently the minority of the content on this channel. I'm open to any and all suggestions. Do you have a favorite ARK mod you would like to see showcased? Is there a game you and your friends really enjoy that you would like to see in the showcase? I am open to any and all suggestions. At the completion of this series, I will be starting a new adventure. This is your opportunity to have your voice heard. What do you want? You can comment below. Currently, there's a community Discord which you could use to share your ideas. The About page on this channel will always have up-to-date contact information use that. There is no sunset date on this opportunity. As this video ages, and you may be viewing this at a later date, do not let that stop you from sharing your thoughts. Because you, yes, you watching this right now, you matter. Between episodes 1 and 10 of the Book of Docs here, the subscribers have increased 900% and the views on this series have increased 2,000%. To me, that means this series has created value for you. Yes, you watching this right now. I know if you're watching this, you're probably legendary. So listen close, legend. In a moment here, we will be back with our regular program. Thank you for being patient. Thank you for listening. Thank you in advance for sharing your absolutely awesome suggestions. This channel is free for you. Annually, the expenses are in the thousands. Thank you anyone that has joined me in supporting the community through the affiliated links. Thank you if you have joined me in supporting the community monetarily. As my time, energy, and income allows, I will continue to deliver as much value as I possibly can for you. Yes, you legend watching this right now. Thank you. That's right, it's a death Quetzal. I bet you didn't see this coming. When we're in the Docs mod, there are times where we need to get creative to overcome situations. This is not what I think is the best way to get through the mod. I actually think this is the wrong way to do the mod. It's fun, it's creative, and we want to be having fun while we play. We don't always need to be grinding out progress. I have put on the death Quetzal those S+ heavy turns. Those heavy turrets shoot 4 bullets a shot, and I've of course turned up the bullet damage to something ridiculous. Of course, we should ramp up the ridiculousness with the old P-Horse with the platform saddle over 300 armor. We sink some foundations, we throw some catwalks, and then we nerf ourselves. That's right. Turns out cannonballs are stupid heavy, and those tech turrets need a tech generator. I'm not that fancy. So we've got cannons in the front, rockets in the rear, those heavy turrets on the corners, and flame throwers down around the ground. It is time to take this ridiculous contraption out for a spin. In all seriousness, have some fun. Don't do this. This is the Docs mod. Sure, we can build these ridiculous contraptions to try and progress. That is not a true progression, staying true to the mod. And you're also shooting yourself in the foot, because you need to be learning those skills, how to get the eggs, how to fight the nest defenders, why gear stacking matters, how to tame pygmies, how to take on some of these prime fights. It'd be better to know that the prime horse has that ranged attack that does that fire damage, that Dimorphodon prime has that ranged attack that does fire damage. Those are more important skills to learn and understand. Here we're fighting the prime bee, and we get absolutely disrespected. The bee goes right for our outlet box, and it hits us hard. It hits us for several thousand pieces of damage, and it summons in minions that hit hard, and it's teeny tiny. It's almost impossible to see this prime bee. Not only does the prime bee kill our outlet box, but we hop off, we replace the outlet box, because like a pro, we built too many on accident, but now it came into our advantage. We turn the generator, and the prime bee is about to meet their maker. We're sending the rockets, the cannons, the flamethrowers, never mind. It turns out that prime bee, once again, disrespects us. 2 points to the Docs mod. We lose a second outlets box back to back. Wow. What a pro play by that prime bee. Note to self, the prime bee is very dangerous and quite savvy. In episode 13, we did 10 rolls at Skeletor, the Transmute Shrine, and I say it's time to go again. Even Mini Vadd's ready. He's like, oh yeah, roll the dice. What is your favorite ancient prime? We're doing 10 more rolls for a total of 20 rolls. There's a lot of rolls we could possibly get, a lot of ancients we could potentially summon. What is your favorite roll? Your favorite ancient summon? Comment below. It looks like this time we got an ancient scorpion prime, an ancient bear prime, an ancient pig, the griffin, the raptor, a mantis, another zomdodo, and an ancient argent prime. Let's check out the pig. Look at this chunk. He even shows up hungry, just munching. Is this your new favorite Choomba or what? Just a beefcake. Look at this. It's absolutely huge. It's got the red glowing eyes, kind of the zombie look going for it. And look, it's got serious hops. It can jump. What's better than this? We don't need a saddle to ride it. It's not some kind of a healing thing going on, and it summons minions. That's right. Perfect. Just what we needed. Some kind of an OP, powerful, ancient prime pig. Nothing says firepower like the way we tiptoe and hip hop around on the prime pig. Not sure I'm ever going to use this, but hey, we've got one. All right, it's time to fight the prime bee. We are out here on Selma, the Ice Manticore Prime. We obviously have the Pygmy Pteranodon. We've got our corruption potion and we have our riot gear. And we have a little bit of trouble here with the zoom feature. We changed up the remote that we used to play on the PC version of this game with, and it's zooming in every time we're just trying to land a shot. And the prime bee is wicked fast. We get like one hit on it and it just zips across the map, goes right over everything. It's very hard to see. It hits really hard, but it's a little bit of a glass cannon. Let's try on our dragon to have the same success we had on our Manticore. We have the Argentavis Pygmy here. That dragon, I feel like it just eats up stamina with that fire breath. Maybe I'm just a bad shot. Maybe I'm missing a lot of the shots that I'm trying to land. But over here, again, trying to fight that prime bee. We know it summons minions. We know it hits hard. We know it's tiny, and we know it's actually pretty fast. When it gets a little bit low on health, it starts to flee, and that makes this fight extra tough because when something runs away in the Dox mod, sometimes it runs into something bigger and meaner than what you were trying to fight. We just want to fight the bee, and so far we've worked really hard to avoid the prime bee. It's kind of hard to avoid since you just don't see it coming. It usually just kills you all of a sudden. All of a sudden, you're dead. So here we are trying to fight the prime bee, and there are pygmies around. We don't want to make those pygmies upset because we know that Mega Kong protects the pygmies, and this prime bee fight could very quickly turn into the Mega Kong stomping us once again, which we will be avoiding at all costs, as that is not the way to progress. Dying does not get you closer to your objective. We're gonna roast this bee, it's gonna flee, and we are gonna need a health potion here just to make sure we don't die. Looks like the bee hit us in the stamina. Remember we talked about those health potions, how one potion gives you some health and food, and that other potion gives you 3 times the health, but also gives us some stamina. It looks like the bee has some kind of a stamina draining attack. I do not think I would try and fight the prime bee on the ground. I really want a flyer when I'm fighting the prime bee. I brought the Apex Argentavis Pygmy to help counter some of that stamina drain I seem to be getting from this prime bee. Without my full set of Dox armor, this would have been a much closer fight. We really need to get our hands on a better saddle for our dragon, that hardened dragon scale. I feel like our dragon is getting hit way too hard simply because we do not have the appropriate saddle, which is a saddle of over 200 armor. Sure, we can ride the dragon without a saddle, but that armor from the saddle is a part of the gear stacking. We also need to make sure that we upgrade our dragon. It's still an Apex dragon, and that's just not going to cut it as we move further into the Dox mod. Gear stacking will continue to be an important part of the progression. I really hope that you have enjoyed this episode, and until next time, peace. Peace, love, and stay classy, legends. If you learned something or enjoyed this video, share it with a friend. If you are new here, please consider subscribing. If you have joined and enjoyed before, welcome back. If you would like to see more quality content, please consider joining me in supporting the channel through Patreon and utilizing the affiliated links. Thanks.